Hey guys, Doug the Retirement Guy. We got a deeper dive into the XBTY Granite Shares Yield Boost Bitcoin ETF. We bring this one to you because there's been some changes, there's been some updates, and the performance has really been holding in there. And actually, I believe that this one's actually probably more stronger than ULTY for income. So we're going to show you some neat things that's happening with Granite Shares. They've really gotten into this whole uh, weekly paying side of it. So let's get into today's video. And I want to first do a shout out to all the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. All the past subscribers, you guys are phenomenal. All of you together are just setting records of viewers for our product. And also all of our Patreon guys. Without you, we could not do what we're doing. And if you can help support the channel, go down in the description and hit that support button. Notice to all viewers, past performance does not guarantee future results. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice or investment advice. Always contact a licensed financial advisor or professional before making those decisions. So who is XBTY? Well, this is Granite Shares Yield Boost Bitcoin ETF. Now, the Granite Shares Yield Boost is a series that they've done. They have, I believe, about 4 different yield boost programs that they're doing. This one is built around Bitcoin. It is designed to generate income from option strategies linked to 2 times long the Bitcoin daily ETF to generate that income. So what they're trying to do is through covered calls, covered puts, all kind of options trading, synthetic trading. They're trying to get 2 times the performance that Bitcoin daily ETF is doing, and they're using that to generate income. Now, the performance so far, this thing offers a high dividend yield of over 99% annually on an estimated 12-month basis. Now, what does that mean? Is they're basically calculating it out if this thing was alive for 12 months. And I will tell you straight out, this has not been out that long, but the performance has been rocketing through the just through the numbers on the high dividend side of it. They use a return of capital of 81 to 97%. Now, of course, that will give you potential eroding of the net asset value, but we also educate a lot of you here on this channel is that return of capital is really used as a tax service and a tax basis for us, the investors, and for the company. Year-to-date totals approximately right now about 31.15%, including dividends. Remember that 99% is if you took the dividend, times it by 52 weeks, and then divide it by the price of the share, you're going to be well over that. The 31% is what's actually been earned throughout. So I don't want you to get you confused on that point, but right now 31% in since May, very, very strong numbers. And you can see the thing came out May 12th of 2025. Now this thing was great for this. There's not a lot of Bitcoins out there that are paying weekly, and these guys are into it. That's one of the things Granite Shares. They said, we're getting into this business. We're going to get into the weeklies, and we're starting off with this very, very strong. So Granite Shares XBTY is Granite Shares Yield Boost of the Bitcoin ETF. They're showing they are in the game of weekly income ETFs. You can compete with the YieldMax ULTY that we all talk about, the Roundhill HOOW that I've fallen in love with for large income. So this is one that's probably been missed a little bit, and that's why we wanted to bring it out to our viewers that we think we have one that can outrun both HOOW and ULTY in the same running. I know that's bold, but we know we can do it. All right, let's take some updates on XBT, what's going on. And we're going to call this, it's a correction course. If you take a look what's happened since the opening of this thing on May 13th, it has been bouncing and just doing the same thing that Bitcoin's been doing, up, down, every which way. And we agree with this. And you see the drop off on that August 1st. Hasn't really recovered since then. It's come back to what we call ground zero. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Well, the truth of the matter is it's actually a good thing if you're not into it. It's a bad thing if you bought earlier But overall, this is not something built for growth or income. This is built more for income. So when we take a look at the numbers, 1 month it's down 5.9%, 6 months it's down 8.22%. When we take a look at the numbers, on May 13th, this thing opened up at $25.53. August 15th, it's at $23.45. And here's the big one I found is the 52-week low on this fund is $23.30. So what it's telling us is that we're like basically starting over. We're starting at a 52-week low, and it's probably a great time to buy because we're at a very low point. Will it go lower? It could, but the thing is, XBTY is so tied with the Bitcoin side of it that if Bitcoin is going to stick around, which we expect it to, and know it probably will, that we know the volatility of Bitcoin, this thing's going to do the same thing you're seeing. It's going to start rocketing about this price point, up, down, and up and down, just like you see in the picture above. And this thing is going to stay and maintain right in that level, which is great because of the next step that we get to, and that is the dividend. Look at the dividend chart. The dividend chart since June 30th has been pretty much what I call flat. It's consistent. Flat is not bad. It's consistent. Look at this. In July 25th, it was 47 cents. August 4th, 47 cents. August 8th, 44 cents. August 15th, 45 cents. Okay, this gives us an average of 50 cents basically per dividend payout, which is 50 cents per week. Now, what is it doing? It's taking some of the earlier ones that were doing the 60 cents and so on, and now it's balancing out to right around that 50-cent rate. What's that giving us? A 23.27 actual percentage yield. And when you do the math into this, we're really looking at about 110% yield replacement if you take that 50 cents into the current cost of the fund. So again, let me explain that again. 50 cents times 52 weeks gives you that number, divided it by the cost of the share, it'll give you that 110. So we're right in line with a high yield that everyone else is using. Now let's do a comparison here, and let's do a what if. What if I invested $10,000 into this fund? How would it compare to other funds similar or operating the same way, looking for income? Well, what we've done here is we chose 4 funds, and we're going to show you if $10,000 would buy you X number of shares, the dividend that it's paying, and the income that you would be generating from those funds. And the 4 funds that we started to compare with, first off is Granite Shares XBTY, the Roundhill COIW, which is identical in a lot of ways of what XBTY is doing. Then we wanted to compare it with the ULTY YieldMax, and with the one that I like so much is the HOOW from Roundhill, to see if ULTY can win this across the board. Again, more power to it. If COIW is doing it, then we know what's going on. But let's take a good look at what happens here. When you take the price of the shares and divide it by 10,000, you're going to get 426 XBTY, 231 COIW, 1,694 from YieldMax's ULTY, and only 137 from HOOW. This is a huge advantage to ULTY because you're buying at such a low price, and I believe it's like $5.90 right now, and you're going to get a ton more shares. But when we start to look at the next part of it is the dividends. Well, look at this, 50 cents from XBTY, 50 cents from COIW, 10 cents from ULTY, and $1.30 from HOOW. Well, as we take a look at this, are we buying 5 times the number of shares of ULTY? No, we're only buying 4. So really the dividend side of it looks like it's better paying than ULTY. Now we take a look at HOOW with that $1.30. That's a crusher. That's 13 times more than what ULTY does. And this is not a fight to kill ULTY. What I'm showing is The income potential that you have here is bigger than any of them. XBTY income weekly is $213.21 compared to COIW at 115, compared to ULTY at 169, and compared to HOOW at 178. So realistically, XBTY is the largest weekly incomer currently out of these four. Number two is HOOW, which we've talked heavily about, and then ULTY comes in. So I think we have a program. Yes, they operate differently. Yes, they're going to do things in a different way. But purely, do we I say care? Do we have anything when we want income? You take a look at what does this mean over a 12-month period? Boy, I'll tell you what, it's huge. $11,000 income yearly. Coin is COIW is 6,000. So you're almost, you might as well round it and say we're almost double. And then when you take a look at ULTY at 8,800, it's $3,000 more. And then of course at the $9,200 from HOOW. So this is why I'm telling you, I think XBTY is definitely something you want to make sure you're watching and putting into a portfolio. And maybe take some of your risk out of ULTY, which continues to linger at that $5 to $6 price point. And maybe it's time to start looking at XBTY as a whole. So it's a great comparison I wanted to do for you with that. We take a look at the return on investment. That 45-cent new dividend got us to that 50-cent average. And when the price tag is $23.45, but we're looking at 46 weeks or 3/4 of a year, and you got your return on your investment back. That, again, another huge factor to it, guys. Now, Granite Shares does use the XBTY distribution is using the return of capital. Now, this one doesn't come in as effect as strong as other ones that we use. But take a look at, and they float differently. Look what they've done here. August, it was a 97.5 return of capital. July, it was down to 7.86%. So they do fluctuate around, and it's all coming out of how well XBT is doing and what do they need to do across the board. So we use that just to share with you guys a little bit. It is a bouncer, so it's not one that we're going to say, hey, you don't have to worry about the taxes onto it. This one's going to mess up your tax program a little bit. But let's take a look at the assets under management. Well, on August 16th, these guys are sitting at $62.46 million. Not bad from only being out here since May. And when we take a look at the shares, we're at 2.62 million. I know this fund needs a little bit, we'll call it a little more time to get everybody excited and motivated to it. But for anyone out there who has some extra cash or has things questioning about ULTY, we have a system that you can step up to that the numbers are looking pretty solid on. So our eyes put this as a mild buy. Again, mild buy to us, we don't put everything into it with just one big lump sum. We don't go into this and say, boom, we're in, we're done. We walk ourselves into it. We slowly enter into this business and we just continuously add on a regular basis. The positive numbers that we have on this thing at 6.2 million, so the assets under management, fairly strong. 3/4 of a year, we got our money back, low, I call it low risk because we're going to get refunded back very quickly. We look at the numbers are down, okay? But I think this is going to change on you on a fairly quick basis as the volatility of Bitcoin happens, which we're going to see that happening fairly quickly. The income at 50 cents per share, or right now a 23.27 yield, is strong. We already see that thing calculating out to be 110. And I tell you, this guy is going to be a long-term ETF. You're going to set this thing. You're not going to forget it. You're going to set it. You're going to play it the long-term game. You want to keep it for basically 1 year so you don't have to pay the big taxes onto it. You can cut your tax rate down and watch what happens. If this thing continues to gain itself back, you're going to see some big growth over it. You'll be happy with the growth and you'll be happy with the income that you've received. So you generate more income across the board than any other fund that we found so far. So this is one that we highly suggest you put in your portfolio. So guys, Doug the Retirement Guy, we're always trying to find things that help you grow your pocketbook. If you like what we're doing, give us that thumbs up. If you're not part of the community, hit that subscribe button. And best of all, if you have any comments, leave them down below. I love to hear what you guys have to say about the channel, about what's going on, what we're promoting. Also, if any of you can help support the channel, hit that Patreon button. We appreciate it. We will love you for that. You can join Patreon for free and try it out. And then you can always go ahead and make a small donation and get all the information behind the scenes. Guys, thanks. We'll talk to you soon.